that way. You know what?
I'm a tromboner. You play in the percussion.
Exactly. The bass drum, the big one.
Xylophone?
Xylophone is in there now, yes, and snare drum. So things that are part of a drum set, but played more traditionally. Yes, precisely. And then the crash cymbals, all of that.
See, actually, I could do commercials.
It's like a saw, you know, the
right,
woo, and it's just like. It's really, really funny.
You heard it here, folks.
That is the flexitone. Did I spike us? I think I did.
You probably did.
Ooh. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, so the flex snare drum, just because I spent a lot of time in high school practicing. And do you know why that's the? He's talking
really
about on my desk at the DeFiore Center is a clarinet.
Like a 300-year-old clarinet.
7,000-year-old clarinet. It is there because I'm turning it into a lamp, inspired by.
Because he couldn't find a leg.
Tabby inspired me to do that because a lot of this is my wife, Tabitha. I sometimes call her Tabby.
She's a good woman.
She is. All that brass is for art
cool
projects.
Corvette.
And she does, which if you ever see it, bring our car, but it's orange.
There's no other color
with
like this in the world.
It's awesome. Yeah, she got a 77 Corvette. We've been restoring for 3 of transmission fluid everywhere, but that's okay.
We love it. We're going to take a quick break here.
Oh.
This is that sounded. When we return, we're going to continue speaking with the man, the myth.
Henry Fogel, your host on Collector's Corner, heard every week on this station, the first of 2 devoted to music by the German composer August Klughart, a romantic composer born in 1847, died in 1902. We'll hear a violin concerto and his Symphony No. 5, among a few other works, music of August Klughart, on the next edition of Collector's Corner.
JL Auto Connections. Bucci just hooked up Radio Dixie with a sound system for our golf cart. Yeah, he did that. Custom audio installs and video and security for your vehicle. Yeah, he does that too. And after doing this for 34 years, Bucci knows that custom personal touch for your car audio. At JL Auto...
19th of September, Dr. Nancy Ross of Interdisciplinary Arts and Science will be hosting a brown bag seminar in the We Do building, room 104. From noon till 12:50, you are allowed to bring your own lunch and snack.
Texas at 5 p.m. Then the women's soccer team will be taking on Point Loma at Point Loma at 4:30 p.m. Then on the 13th of September, the women's volleyball team will be taking on Pittsburgh State at 5 p.m. Then the men's soccer team will be taking on Eastern New Mexico at 7:30 p.m. at Trailblazer Stadium. Then on the 14th of September, the women's volleyball team will be taking on Lubbock's Christian in the LCU Champ Classic in Lubbock, Texas. Then the women's soccer team will be at Concordia Irvine at 1 p.m. And finally, on the 15th of September, the men's soccer team will be taking on Texas A&M International at 1:30 p.m. at Trailblazer Stadium. For more information on these games, please visit DixieAthletics.com and listen to Radio Dixie 91.
St. George brings you the respectful genre of classical music. As Southern Utah's only source for classical music, we strive to elevate your day with comfortable, relaxing, and edifying music from classical. Thursday, September 17th. The Faculty Art Show is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. in the Holland Building, room 477. Meet the Firms is from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Zion Room, 7. And that's your calendar on Radio Dixie 91.3.
Listen to the Chamber Music Society, Fridays at 11 on Radio.
We welcome you back.
Eating peppermints.
I'll try not to be too slobbery into my...
Thank you. I am sure the people after us would appreciate that.
Oh, they would probably appreciate it most. That's true.
Nygaard. Is J short for something?
No.
What's your middle name?
Martin.
J. Martin Nygaard.
That's right. It's my daddy's name.
And I can't wait to reach my 30s.
You just got to work backwards, and you're almost there.
That's the story of my life, buddy. I've been working backward forward in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so funny. Yep. So
in trombone. Oh yeah. In 2000 on the St. George Music Teachers website. So if you just search St. George Music Teachers, plug it in the internet machine, and I'm in there.
That's what my dad. Yes, I do.
The Yahoos and the Twitters.
Yeah, I'm a Yahoo according to my dad.
And I'm a Google.
They named this after you? Yeah, Yahoo.
Yes. So you can find me there. I am on Facebook. You can just RD.
Look at all that. He looks like a ring bearer in this photo.
I was like 20. I was 24 in my life.
Please, I don't even want to talk about it.
And 20 inches ago as well of hair. It was like
A lot of hair. When's the last time you had short hair?
3 years ago. I've been growing out 3.5 years.
How much longer are you going to grow it out?
Well, I don't want to thinking I'll last till the summer and then cut it. We'll see, but not all the way off. I like it when it's like 8 inches long.
Have you ever tried to straighten your hair?
I have.
I would love to see that.
You want to?
Yeah, I want to
see
see
it right
it.
now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll find it here.
All right.
We
Well,
can
you're
keep talking. It's something to behold.
That would be hilarious.
Weird Al for Halloween.
Ooh.
Because he has similar curls, I guess. But I'm like, I don't know.
Do you have
know how I feel
plans for
about
Halloween? Are you going to a Halloween party?
We usually host one.
Really?
And you are not invited. I'm just kidding. You. We like to do one, and we live with in this beautiful yard, not in the yard, and we like to host parties and events back there. When we
Really?
can. It's so cool.
I have a date this year, and she likes to dress up for Halloween.
There you go. It's not actual Frankenstein's bride, is it?
No,
it's
no. She's a real woman.
Someone dressed up as.
Very,
Oh, okay.
She's very attractive.
Well, in that case.
She's a good woman, and she's very patient.
Yay, man! I'll let you know when it happens. It'd be fun to have you. We let. I'm trying.
You're going to invite Ernie and Cindy?
I will.
I'm not
Will they
going.
come? They will not come though.
No. All right, then I'm going.
Speaking of arts in schools and years, and I ended up just sitting in, and now I play with them pretty much every month. It's like every other month or so. But those kind of moments are so priceless to me, where you can just like get together with a bunch of musicians, just hang out and play whatever you want, whatever you feel like at the time. And so that's one of my goals with the Halloween party is to do a jam session in my backyard too.
Ooh.
So bring a tune. We'll play and you can sing. Or
I'm in.
You play, we'll sing.
Oh, man. I would love to be able to say that I could still play that thing. You know why I picked the string bass? Because back then when I was in high school, I want to learn how to play that. And my grandfather, who drove a 2-door Chrysler K car back then, it was about the size of a Scion, not very big. He would come and pick me up with my bass to take home on the weekend to rehearse.
Did it fit in the car? Was it hanging out the back? Like
so barely.
Oh.
So barely.
Because sometimes, boy, the professor of bass here, he could give you a whole rundown of fitting a. I mean, he's got it worked down to an art form.
Oh, I got it down.
Fitting that, I'm sure. Yeah,
I got it down.
It is. It is an art to be able to do that.
I think I took bass for it on the plane, so that because those things, man, you break that, it's more than just money. It's your life, It's essential.
But it's not as good as I remember. It's still pretty.
Wait, go back. Wait, your face is
Oh, no,
missing.
what
You look like a criminal.
I do.
What did that take you to do?
So, bless my wife's heart, she did it for me, and it was the course of what were we watching? It was like a 45-minute show, and the straightener died.
And
While
all you
she
have
was
to
using
all you had to do was wash it once and it went right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when it was like just in the air and like sweat on my neck and stuff, it started to kind of wave. And that was,
That is the funniest thing ever.
yeah.
That's gonna be my profile pic now. You're like, who's that woman?
But
Like,
you could do a face swap.
that
And then you could
old-
put your opposing.
Whoa, yeah. You play trombone. Trombone's your thing.
It's yes.
And tuba.
And tuba, yes. And tuba more as a hobby, but also, I try to market myself as a doubler because particularly in musical theater. So, for example, Tuacahn orchestras will generally hire doublers.
Somebody can play one or more instruments.
Yes, so
More than one.
trombone alone, there are several varieties of trombone. So I play tenor and bass trombone. But there's
Really?
yeah,
Just like a saxophone.
yeah,
I never knew that.
yeah, and they play.
And I've been in bands.
Yeah.
And brass, and I've never.
Yeah, there's a variety of just about every instrument, which is really interesting because sometimes they play this. You can play the same music. Sometimes it's totally different, like saxophone, the mid range. But bass will obviously go lower. Tenors in the middle. There's an alto trombone, which is like this adorable kind of shrunken trombone, and there is a soprano trombone. It's adorable, which is basically and it's sometimes called a slide trumpet. So it plays the same notes as a trumpet, but with a slide. It's kind of fun. More of a novelty.
And you can play any of those?
I can, yeah. Yeah. Bass trombone is what I've spent a lot of time on because if you can play bass trombone and tenor trombone, you can get gigs because that's generally what they like to look for in musical theater, which I get to do 2 of the 3 shows this year, Tuacahn.
Now, is there a difference in tubas?
There is. And that's a story for another day because there's dozens. This is like F tuba, E flat tuba.
So I want to know the story behind this trip that you took up north and the guy that sold you all this brass.
Yes. So Steve Call is his name. He just retired. He's a professor of tuba studies at BYU, and he is also a group director for one of our groups for Arts Incorporated. He directs a brass quintet. It's a great ensemble, and a new group, a jazz group up north. The brass group, actually,
not a jazz set,
but a like
quintet.
ours, but a quintet. Yes, but he's been doing programs for us for like 45 years. Like before Ernie was even on board, and when it was still a young audience. So he's been doing it a long time. But as most brass musicians are, he is a gearhead and has just a lot of stuff left over. So Tabby and I ended up going, I should first tell you the rest of the story. So we had a meeting with all the group leaders in northern Utah. So me, Ernie, and Natasha, as I mentioned before. And he was up there, and I mentioned to him, I was like, hey, if you ever have a tuba that you don't really need, it's served its purpose, we'd love to take it off your hands. And he's like, yes, have I got a deal for you. So my wife and I, we spent just a Sunday afternoon, drove up to Provo and brought my van, not really knowing what to expect, but he opens his car and there's all these tubas that he didn't want anymore. It was so cool. And I mean, it's such a weird thing
Indiana
to be excited
Jones
about.
Finding the lost stone or whatever.
The gold just glistening in our eyes and the reflection. It was a magical moment. Tabby was so excited because it's mostly her who's building these art installments and stuff that she wants to do. Excuse me.
So she's making something out of them.
Yeah, so she actually has already made out of a French horn and some other things. It's basically, I don't know if you've seen these where you put.
She made a child.
She made a human baby out of brass. Hey, Tabby, that's a solution to all our problems.
Congratulations.
We don't have kids yet.
What's his name? Brassy.
Brassford.
Brassford.
Brassaman. Yeah, so it's these things, I don't know if you've seen these, where you like put your phone in a little case and there's a pipe that is connected to the bottom of the case and it amplifies out a brass bell. The phone.
Somebody's making money, which is good. A for effort.
That's right.
Ingenuity, entrepreneurial skills here. Yes, okay.
Exactly. So
we're not smart enough to think of this.
She really wants to make more of those, but also like lamps and kind of like the clarinet on my desk. That's a trial run. I want to try that because we have flutes. We have so many instruments that we're hoping to turn into these projects. And,
Are you guys hoarders?
No. Pack rat is a more accurate term.
Okay.
And Tabby used to save empty chapstick tubes.
That's not a pack rat. That's a hoarder.
Yeah, I got rid of them. I'm an adult now. My brother adopted this weird habit for a while, apparently. I learned not too long ago. Dr. Joseph. That's right. But anyway, it's a Reynolds trombone that's built in the 20s. It's a professional model instrument that I'm going to restore and make purdy.
I'm a professional model instrument.
You are from the 20s. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So lots of fun projects. I mean, my in-laws are all about projects and getting stuff done in the yard. And
hey, maybe you can build some instrument lamps and stuff, or like, you know how accent lights that go on the floor and shine up, and you can put them in our new comedy and music venue.
We totally would. That would actually be really cool.
That'd be very cool.
And those kind of lamps too that are on the wall. In fact, Ernie was telling me there was at the
Sconces
Sandy,
kind of thing.
where the Zildjian's very, very famous cymbal brand gave them all these like prototype, like scratch and dent cymbals to use as lamp. They're so
would be
cool.
cool.
And I reached out to them. They said no. But if anyone has cymbals they don't want anymore, that would be cool.
Anybody has any cymbals, any brass instruments, woodwinds,
any instruments at all,
any kind of instrument,
we'll take them.
We're looking for 2 grand pianos. We're going to turn them into flower pots.
But so out in the front, it's going to be cool.
Be cool.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited.
You guys are so smart.
Yeah.
I like the thought of the accent lights at the club, though.
That'll be really cool too. Those like stand up. I guess it's an accent light. That's what it's called, right? Yeah. Yeah. We'll totally do that.
I'm sorry for you, Tabby. He can stay at my house. It's okay. But in
have
a
a
different
house?
room. I have a little cottage. I live on Main Street behind a cute little house. No, at Gordon Strang's old house. You know where Gordon used to live?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But he
Well-
was there 20 years before me when there was no.
I didn't know. He
Yeah,
was
just a good. So he lived in
funny.
there behind Sue's house 20 years ago, but there was no water in there. So he would leave. Stuart lived there.
That's adorable.
It's all white. Everything's white. You walk.
But I'm driving. I'm not getting in that death trap of a car you drive.
Excuse me.
I'm just kidding.
They give me- I drive
Right.
stickers on the back like you have 9 children. What a,
I love my
and,
van.
and it has a dent in it.
Yeah, big old dent.
A big old dent. All mine is missing is paint. That's it.
I guess that's true. What a
It
difference.
runs great dog with me. And they're like, you're not going to take her in that death trap.
That was me who said that.
I was like, come on.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But you made it.
We did. The
Alive.
child is.
Nope.
Anyway. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult your beautiful car.
I know it's
But
a
I
piece
am
of crap.
driving. And I know mine is too.
It's okay. We can push each other's cars.
It's good.
So what? I'm lost. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about Arts Incorporated, about these
Yes.
programs into the schools down here.
I think there are 2 really big ways to do it. One is if you are a parent, talk to your administration, your schools about how much you want more arts in your schools, because there are so many programs happening at school, right? It's hard to blame them that it gets left behind because there's the STEM pushing on all the time.
Yes, but I think it pushes aside the things that are important and are also
yeah. So if
everything's so politically correct. Excuse me out there, everybody, but things are so PC that you forget about the fun stuff, the beauty of the.
Well, and the skills learned in the arts, and this is the things. Listen up, people. Being of interacting with other people, of creating an idea comes from the arts. All of it. I mean, I always think of sitting, but
I know one's cigarettes, right? No.
the 4
Used to
C's
be
of
when I was in
education.
school.
Cigarettes. That's exactly right.
7 years old with a pack of Camels. By the way, those days are gone.
Do you remember those Flintstone cigarettes?
The ones that-
Flintstone
the candy ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I wonder why those didn't last. And if you are in a dance class, if you're in an art class, you are constantly expressing yourself, being creative, having original ideas. So I really
You'll never amount to anything.
I really think you're right. I feel like it is super important. And, with as far as what kids need to learn in schools, maybe it's not number 1 on the list, but it needs to be there. It needs to be included.
Absolutely.
So I would say talk to your principal, talk to your student's principal if you're a parent. The other thing is I've lost my train of thought. What was the other one? I totally had a great
But
answer for
while
the
you're
question.
thinking, here's my take on it.
Yeah.
There's a huge problem with suicide down here. I think that
Yeah.
those things give the students a chance to grow their minds, and they're so stagnant. They're so stuck on social media that if they had the arts like they did when I was a kid, probably when you were too, because you're kind of
Yeah.
old.
I'm kinda-
I think that it would just boost your endorphins. It would just everything. It would just make you feel happier and give you something, a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's totally my take on it. So,
Yeah. And that was the other thing I was going to say is I think a lot of, like most things that are important in families and kids' lives, it all kind of starts at home. So I feel like if you talk to kids more about art, we've already told you a bunch of Saturday art classes up there too.
sure. And the drum circle.
Drum circle. It's happening everywhere.
and people
and-
don't realize it.
Yeah,
they
and-
really don't.
And a lot of times it's because they don't know where to look and it's not put out as good as it should be. And I realize that.
What's the
but-
web? FIORE
Yeah. .org.
Center.org.
And all the community calendars. So even go to your community calendars and look at all the stuff going on in town because it's always happening. There's something happening all the time.
And if you'd like to see something,
Yeah,
speak.
exactly. Yeah,
Let them know.
yeah, and then go to those events because the best thing you can do for arts is support it yourself and go. There's so much of it that's free. Southwest Symphony does a concert every, I think it's like, or no, Dixie State. Most of Dixie State's concerts a lot of them are free. They do one out in the park. I mean, yeah, we're just getting more and more of it. So yeah, participate in the arts is a big way that it'll happen. There's interest. Teachers want more arts and are worried that it's used. I think there is a number, but it's like 95% of those teachers. It's a real issue, and it's happening everywhere. I mean, can't deny that, but Utah especially, man.
Yeah.
And Arts Inc., and not just elementary schools, too. We're trying to get...
Maybe we'll get pictures of it up on the website.
Waste of time.
Jay Nygaard, I love you, buddy. You are the man.
Too.
You are the best.
I'm so glad I could come on.
Arts Incorporated,
Really
the Rowene D. Fiore Center for Arts and Education. Lots of great things going on here in town. Check them out, everybody. Thanks for coming out, Startup Nation. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.